Hey, how you doing? Welcome to another video. Have you ever stopped to think about how much alcohol your body is naturally equipped to handle? I always remember I had pains in my chest at one stage while I was drinking, and I had to spend a night in the hospital. This was back in Ireland, back in the day, so maybe 15 years ago, something like that. And Irish nurses, especially ones who've been on the job for a good length of time, for a good few years, well, you know, they give no bullshit, right? And they take no bullshit either, right? And this nurse, let's call her Nurse Mary for the sake of argument. Nurse Mary, she was the one that was putting me through the admission procedure, and she's putting that little plastic band onto my wrist with my name and all the details on it, that kind of stuff. And quick as a flash, she starts to pat my belly and she says, "What do you drink?" And I said, "Guinness." And she says, "How many do you drink?" And I said, one or two of a night, you know. And she says, "Pull the other one. It's got bells on. That's a belly and a half that you've got there." So I turned to her and said, "Well, maybe 3 or 4. And she says, "And the rest." And this was the kicker, I think. She turned around to me and she says, "Stop doing it. The human body isn't meant to drink Guinness. Not that amount of Guinness." She meant, it wasn't that she was talking about Guinness in general, she was talking about alcohol in general, right? And I nodded and I smiled and I brushed it off as soon as she was gone, as you do. But there was something in the way that she said it to me that always stuck in my mind, right? Even to this day. So going back to my question, have you ever stopped to think about how much alcohol your body is naturally equipped to handle? So let's look at the difference between the ethanol content in one drink and the natural amounts of alcohol that are endogenously produced, right? So that's they're produced inside of you as a natural part of the processes. And you know what, I'll give you the ethanol that might be consumed from fermented foods as well, you know. Not only from the stuff that you might ferment yourself, like kombucha and that kind of stuff, but also fermentation that occurs in overripe fruits, for instance, right? First, I want to clarify the amounts consumed and what I mean by one drink. You know, a drink can be many different things to many different people. So let's just speak about 1 unit of alcohol as being one drink. And even that's a bit fuzzy, right? But I'll talk about that in a minute. In many countries, a standard drink or a unit of alcohol typically contains about 10 grams of pure alcohol. And the fuzziness comes in when they can't even agree on that. For instance, it's less than that I think it's 8 grams of alcohol per unit in the UK and Ireland. I think that's what it is. Now this might be roughly equivalent to half a pint of beer, just standard beer, so it's just over a quarter of a litre of beer, standard beer or cider, 3.5%, 4% alcohol by volume. A single shot, let's take it down to 25 millilitres of any distilled spirits, 40% alcohol by volume, and then a small glass of wine, right? 3.5 ounces, 100 millilitres, 10% alcohol by volume. So that's what we're talking about in 1 unit of alcohol, right? These specific drinks, that small beer, the small glass of wine, or the 1 shot of spirits contains 8 to 10 grams of pure alcohol, depending on who is doing the counting, right? So the alcohol produced naturally in the human body and the trace amounts that you will ingest in some fermented foods usually amounts to milligrams of ethanol or even less, right? Now I want to be clear here so there's no misunderstanding. Quantifying the exact amounts from endogenous production and naturally ingested consumption of alcohol is challenging because there's going to be just a lot of variance, right, between different factors like diet, gut microbes, a person's metabolism. You know, all of those things are going to be different in different people, so they're going to produce different amounts, but it's not going to be hugely different, right? So from that perspective, we can make a rough approximation. So first, let's look at the alcohol produced normally in the average human per day, right? At the higher end of the scale, this daily production of natural ethanol is going to be less than 0.1 grams per day, right? Some studies suggest numbers as low as 0.001 grams to 0.003 grams per day. Now, if we take that upper estimate of naturally produced alcohol, the 0.1 grams a day, and to be clear, again, this is per day, and compared to a single standard drink of 10 grams we're talking about, that's 100 times the difference if you only had one drink per day, right? If, however, some studies suggest that those lower estimates or the higher estimates, the lower estimates are true, so 0.001 to 0.003 grams, the difference becomes then 3,333 times to 10,000 times per day if you had one drink per day, right? I know it might sound a bit confusing, but hopefully this is all on the screen. Now, my normal alcohol consumption per week was about 40 pints of Guinness, right? Going by what I was talking about earlier, with units of alcohol, that's about 80 units of alcohol per week, divided by 7 equals about 11 and a half units of alcohol per day. And that's on it, like I wasn't drinking that every day, but, averaging it out. So this equates to just over 90 grams of pure alcohol a day. So depending on your base figures, that works out anywhere between 900 times and 90,000 times the amount of alcohol that my body was designed to metabolize, right? So just let that stew on you, work it out yourself. Take those figures and work it out yourself, because you'll be amazed. There is no, when we're talking about alcohol metabolism, your liver can produce a healthy male liver, right? A healthy young male liver can metabolize 1 unit of alcohol per hour. So that's what I was saying earlier on. A small beer, small glass of wine, 1 shot of spirits. That's a healthy liver, right? And if you're drinking more than that, there is no holding cell that the body has got so that the alcohol stays in there until it's metabolized by the liver. No. It gets absorbed into the bloodstream, and it's going around the bloodstream until it gets to be metabolized in the liver, right? So where the alcohol flows, the damage goes. Okay, look, if you want some help to stop drinking alcohol, there's a free course available. It's called The Beginner's Guide to Unplugging from Alcohol. The link is in the description. Like I said, it's absolutely free. It'll give you a bit of a kickstart, give you some of the basic ideas and concepts that we cover in the main program. The main program is also in the description if you want to take that up. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you in the next video. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.